What's up guys, my name is Matthew, and today I'm going to be recommending a shit ton of queer books for you. Alright, I was literally going through all my bookshelves to try to pull out books that have LGBTQ themes, and my coffee table is covered in books. So apparently I like gay books. Who knew? Also, disclaimer, I do not have very many female romance books. It's something I'm working on. I've gotten a lot of recommendations from you guys, and I have some books here that I need to read, but just as a disclaimer, I know most of this shit is male, but you know, like that's what I like, so that's the majority of what you're gonna see in this vlog. So I'm a bit overwhelmed, and I think I'm gonna break this down into different categories. First, I'm gonna review some romance and contemporary LGBTQ books. Then we're gonna switch into more thriller horror books. And then at the end, I'm gonna give kind of a TBR of books that are on my shelf that I haven't read yet, but will be reading soon. I'm also gonna be putting timestamps. I have a feeling this video is going to be very long, and I know not all of you wanna watch all this, so if you go into the description box, I'll have timestamps to each book, and I'll put timestamps to where the different genres changed, so if you're looking for a particular genre. Okay, let's start off with the basics. Some of these books I've put in pretty much every one of my vlogs, but you know what, I'm just gonna keep doing it because they're fucking awesome, and if you haven't read them, what are you doing? What are you doing? All right, the first one is Red, White, and Royal Blue, duh, my favorite book of all time. If you have not read this yet, why? Why have you not read this yet? It is the cutest book ever. It's about a boy named Alex, who is the son of the first female president of the United States, who is bisexual, and he has kind of a hate to love relationship with the Prince of England, Henry, and this book kind of follows their love journey, and it is super cute. I think Amazon's making it into a movie, and I'm super excited about that, but please read this book. Even if you're not someone who reads books often, this is just one of those books that you need to read because it's so freaking cute. All right, the next book on my list is also a male romance called The Charm Offensive, and I just did a reading vlog for it. I'll put a link down below. There's no spoilers in the vlog. But this book is about a guy named Charlie, who is on a show similar to The Bachelor, and he's on The Bachelor trying to find, a wife, like typical Bachelor. But he may or may not fall in love with his male producer of the show, Dave, and it kind of follows their whole journey. This book has a lot of mental health references dealing with anxiety and depression. I gave this 5 stars. It's the book I just read. Please read this book because it's freaking cute. And it just came out, so like not that many people have read it so far, but this book is going to be just as popular as Red, White, and Royal Blue. The next book that is a classic, and if you haven't read this book, what are you doing, is The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. It's about this famous starlight Evelyn Hugo in like the 1950s, and we go through her entire life, and she's kind of explaining it to this woman about like all of her secrets and all of her 7 husbands. She was literally married to 7 men. And I'm not gonna say much more because I think it's fun if you just go into this book not knowing much, but there's definitely bisexual representation and there's definitely gay representation in this book. And just like Red, White, and Royal Blue, this book is my favorite of all time. Even if you're not someone who reads often, this is one that is worth the hype and you need to read it because it's so good. All right, the next book is called Top Secret by Sabrina Brown and Elle Kennedy. Elle Kennedy is one of my new favorite authors. I'm reading a different series, and me and my friend Gabby are gonna be releasing a video because we are binging all of her books, but that's for another video, but be looking for that because it's gonna be fucking hilarious. We're gonna get drunk and talk about those books. But Top Secret is so cute. It's a male romance. It's about a guy named Luke and a guy named Keaton who are in the same fraternity. And Keaton has a girlfriend, but he's kind of trying to experience maybe a threesome with his girlfriend. I think Luke is openly gay, and they start talking on an app similar to Grindr, which is like an app where you talk to people, usually just have sex, whatever. But they're talking through Grindr, kind of, starting to fall in love over the phone, not realizing that they're talking to each other. They're frat brothers, and they're both competing to be frat president. And this book is so cute. Luke in this book is one of my favorite male characters of all time. This is in my top 3 favorite male romances. It's super short, super easy to read, and if you're looking for just a cute, like, college-y vibes, just so cute, Top Secret, definitely one of the best male romances I've read so far. All right, the next book is, yes, again, another male romance. It's called Someday by Emma Scott, and this book is about a guy named Max, who is a recovered drug addict, and he goes to AA, or drug, I don't, what do you, is it AA if you're recovering from drugs? Whatever, like I think it's AA. Going to AA and he meets this guy named Silas, and you know, they kind of meet and they think each other are attractive, but that was the end of it. Then he takes a job, because he's a nurse, he takes a job as a caretaker for this super famous guy who owns like a pharmaceutical company who sold drugs like Oxycontin and pain pills. And he becomes a caretaker, and that guy is the father of Silas, the guy he met in AA, and this follows their love journey. Both of their dealing with addiction and how the pharmaceutical company has kind of like trapped people into being addicted to pain pills. So it has that on top of the male-male romance. It's super cute. I'm pretty sure I gave this one 4 out of 5. I read this so long ago. But definitely, if you're looking for another male-male romance, super cute. Emma Scott is also a really, really good romance author. A great book for transgender representation is Birthday by Meredith Russo. And I'm just gonna warn you, this book will break you. It is heartbreaking. This is one of the few books that I actually cried over, and I don't cry often, but this book is so sad and just like pulls at your heartstrings. It's about Morgan and Eric, who are best friends, and they share a birthday. And each chapter is a different year of their birthday, and it shows their friendship, and it shows Morgan dealing with their gender identity and trying to decide what they identify as, and deciding to transition, and kind of how their friendship evolves maybe into something more, and how they deal with that. And there's issues of bullying, there's issues of verbal abuse from family members. And this book just did a great job of getting into the mindset of someone who is transgender, and that's not something I've seen a lot even in movies or books. So it was just, I liked that I was able to kind of see from a different perspective someone who's going through something that I've never had to go through. And that's kind of like why I like reading so much, is you get like different perspectives. And I think the author is also transgender. So she obviously has experienced this firsthand and has, firsthand experience of what it's like. And this book is super short, super cute. I promise you it will break you. But I think it's something everyone should read, because it's something that's not really discussed often. This book just did a great job, and it's so cute, so sweet, but it is heartbreaking. But yeah, definitely recommend The Birthday. If you're looking for almost kind of like a series involving male-male romance, I would definitely look into the Something Like series by J. Bell. This series is about these different characters, and each book is from a different perspective of one of the main characters, and kind of how all their different perspectives come in to form one story. So the first one is Something Like Summer. This is about a guy named Ben who has a crush on this jock named Tim, and Tim gets hurt and Ben kind of starts to take care of him. And this book spans like 40 years, maybe not that much, like 30 years from when they were in high school. Their ups and downs, I don't want to give anything away, because then you got Something Like Winter, which is Tim's perspective, but also it breaks off into parts of where Tim does his own thing, meets different people, so you're getting to see how Tim's experience and Ben's experience. Then we got Something Like Autumn, which is Jace. Jace is so sweet, and how he fits into their love relationship. There's Something Like Spring. I can't explain this one to you because it will spoil the other books. Something Like Lightning. But what I like about all of these books is that each one, the characters are always there. You're focused on one character, but you get to see all the other characters that you met in the previous books, and all of their lives intertwine. And sometimes you might be frustrated with the character and not understand, like, why are you behaving like that? But then once you get to their book, you kind of get into their mindset and like why they behave a certain way, what life experience led them to why they're behaving a certain way. And it's just one of these series that if you're really looking into just delving into a world, I definitely recommend it. I've only read 5 of them so far. I think there's like 11 of them. There's so many. I haven't gotten to the rest of them. But I definitely recommend read the first one, Something Like Summer. You'll know right away if this is for you because it's super cute. There's also a Something Like Summer movie that I just watched, and I think you can get it on iTunes. I'm not really sure, but it's super cute. If you're gonna read the first 3, these 3 are pretty much the same story, but with different like background stories for each of the characters. So like sometimes you go into their childhood, sometimes you go into the future, sometimes you go into years when they were in college and they weren't together, but they all connect. So these are the 3 that I would recommend if you're looking to delve into this world. Another male-male romance I'm gonna recommend is The Boyfriend Material by Alex Hall. It's about a guy named Luke who is kind of famous because his dad was a famous rock star, and his dad's making a comeback, so now he's back in the public eye, and he's kind of a drunk and a party boy, so I think a picture gets released of him and he's trying to clean up his act. So he meets a guy named Oliver who's like a straight edge. He's also gay, but he's, very follow the rules, doesn't party. He's like a vegetarian. He's just, very clean cut. And they decide to fake date. And so this is the fake dating trope, they fake date. Now what do you think happens? But it's super cute. I think I only gave this one 3.5 stars. I didn't like it as much as Red, White, and Royal Blue, but it's definitely a cute book. It's set in London. It's funny because these characters have nothing in common and they fight a lot. It's a cute book. It's a fast read. I definitely recommend if you're looking for more male-male romances. Definitely not one of my favorites, but if you've read all the other ones and you're looking for more male-male romance, definitely check out Boyfriend Material. Another great book with transgender representation is Felix Ever After. I don't have that book because I'm pretty sure I borrowed it from the library. Very young adult book. It's in high school and dealing with how he's struggling with, his gender identity. He's very confident, and that's what I love about him so much. But what happens is that somebody releases pictures of him before his transition and releases, there's a term for it. I'm gonna look it up. I don't know it now, but when you refer to someone from before they transition, it's like dead name, drop dead name. I dead named them. I'm gonna look it up and I'll put it right here, what it is. But someone releases photos of him before his transition and you don't know who it is. And he's devastated because, obviously that's not who he is. So why is this person doing this? So he's kind of being bullied. Gives me vibes of Love, Simon, very young adult, exploring his relationships and his relationships with his best friends and trying to figure out, who is the one that kind of is bullying him. It's a super cute book. I think it won a lot of awards. It's another very good book that does a great job of showing transgender representation that we don't see often. So if you're really looking to explore that, I definitely recommend Felix Ever After because on top of the transgender representation, it's also just a really good book and just one of the few young adult books that I finished. As you know, I can barely finish young adult books, but this one was really good and I definitely recommend you check it out. Another young adult book that I read a long time ago, but like a year ago, right when COVID started, was The Gentleman's Guide to Vice and Virtue by Mackenzie Lee. And this book is set in like the 1700s, and apparently people used to go, if you were like really wealthy, you would go on this grand tour where you would explore Europe and go on a trip just to kind of see the world before you start working. And this follows a guy named Monty and his friend Percy, and they're traveling through Europe and they get themselves into trouble, but on top of them trying to escape all these, I try to explain this without giving it away, but they're trying to escape from people, they get themselves into trouble, but there's also a love interest between Percy and Monty. And it's so interesting seeing like gay romance set in the 1700s because it's like, what? It's so weird, but super cute book. One of the few young adult books that I actually liked. There's actually a sequel. There might be 3 books in the series. I probably won't read them, but I did enjoy it if you're looking for a young adult light book. I can't do an LGBTQ recommendation video without talking about Call Me By Your Name by Andre Aciman. I'm sure you've seen the movie with Timothée Chalamet and Armie Hammer, but I personally think the book's even better. It follows Oliver and Elio. Elio lives in Italy with his family, and every year their family hosts an American who kind of comes and stays with them to practice linguistics. I think that's what Oliver comes to practice. And it follows their love story. The movie does a good job of not showing the creepy age difference, because in the book, I think it's like 17 to like 25, so there's like a kind of a weird age gap. But this book is so good. I think it's better than the movie because you get to get into Elio's mind. The ending is different. The ending in the book is way better. It's way more heartbreaking because you actually go into the future. The movie didn't do that. Some people, Andre Aciman's writing is not for them. I know I'm pronouncing his name wrong, but whatever. Some people think his writing is a little wordy and they don't like it, but you'll know right away if this is for you. It's one of my favorite books of all time. I just think it's a beautiful book. I'm also going to recommend, by the same author, Andre Aciman, Enigma Variations for Good Bisexual Representation. A lot of people have problems with this book because they're like, nothing happens in this book. It's literally about this guy, and each part of the book is about a different relationship, whether it be with a woman or a man. And I personally just think it's beautiful. And this author does a good job of expressing in words emotions that I've felt and never heard it said out loud. I know that makes no sense, but like, he really is good at expressing emotions that aren't easy to talk about. That is so bad, the bad explanation. That's the best I can do. Some people are gonna read this book and be like, how do you like this book? Nothing happens. You're just listening to this guy talk about his love interest over the multiple years. But this book is just so well written. I'm a big fan of him. It's not for everybody. If you didn't like Call Me By Your Name or the writing style, you're not gonna like Enigma Variations. But I personally like this one even better than Call Me By Your Name because you're spanning throughout this guy's whole life, and you feel what he feels. This author does such a good job of like expressing things. I just love it so much. So please give it a try. Not for everybody, but definitely very good author. A contemporary book that I just read with gay themes is the Guncle. I did a complete reading blog on it. I'll link the link down below. No spoilers, but it's about a guy named Patrick whose brother's sister dies. And then his brother's also dealing with his own health issues. And Patrick, this gay uncle who is a washed up celebrity living in California, takes guardianship over these two children. And it explores him trying to learn how to navigate dealing with children. And you know, he's never been around children. He's not used to that lifestyle. And I only gave this book 3 stars because honestly, if I'm not getting hot sex scenes or somebody's getting murdered, I get bored very easily. It's the truth. But it is cute, and I think most people will like this. It's very heartfelt. The kids in this book are super, super cute. We explore a lot of topics like grief, addiction. Do you think most people will like it? It's just the romance is kind of low, and it's just more of a cutesy book following a sassy gay guy with his niece and nephew. All right, let's get into some thrillers and horror. Over the romance. All right, let's go. All right, the first gay horror thriller that I'm gonna recommend is The Bright Lands by John Fram. If you've been watching my videos, you know I've talked about this a lot. It's probably my favorite gay thriller. I've also, like, gay thriller's not a thing, but we say it as if it's a thing now. But anyway, this book is by a guy named Joel, who grew up in a very conservative Texas town, but he got out, he lived in New York, kind of started a new life for himself, but he's coming back to the town, and when he comes back to the town, his younger brother goes missing. So this book spans, you know, Joel trying to figure out what happened to my brother. And while he's trying to figure out what happened to his brother, he's learning a lot of secrets about the town. And the ending to this book is my favorite ending of all time. It's so jaw-dropping. You're like, what the fuck am I reading? Like, that's literally, you're gonna be like, what the fuck is this? This is insane. If you're a gay man, you need to read this book, because I was literally taking pictures of the pages and sending them to my friends because I was laughing out loud at how ridiculous and crazy the ending is. It's shocking. If you're reading this book, there's multiple twists. So if you're reading this book and you're like, is that twist Matthew's talking about? It's not. You will know when you're at this part, because you will be like, what the fuck? So good. Probably my favorite like gay thriller. Let's just make that a genre. Gay thriller. Love to see it. All right, the next book is called The Cabin at the End of the World by Paul Trombley. It follows this gay couple who are at a cabin in the woods, and these 4 strangers show up to the cabin and say that you either have to sacrifice either you, yourself, or your daughter, or the entire world's gonna collapse and die, and everyone's gonna die. And it's a horror book, and it is super ambiguous. Like, you don't know what happens. The ending, you're gonna be like, wait, that can't be the ending. What? And I remember finishing it and being so frustrated. I did a horror vlog, and my full thoughts are there. I'll link it down below. But the ending is so ambiguous, and the author does a great job of explaining every single thing in this book, and I loved it. If you do read this book, read the author's notes, because he explains why he chose certain literary techniques, why he decided to end the book the way he did. This is a horror book, and you will not know what happens at the end. And if that's frustrating for you, do not read this, but I loved it. I think I gave it 5 stars because I was just blown away. It really makes you think, and really it's following just a gay couple, and just people break into their house and try to tell them they have to either kill one of themselves or the whole world's gonna end. So it was super fun. Another gay thriller I recently read is Yes Daddy, and this book is, it makes you so angry. It's about a guy named Jonah, and he moves to New York City, and he meets this really famous guy named Richard. I think he's like a screenplay or a screenwriter, and they start dating, and he moves in with Richard, and things just take a weird turn, and like it was really hard for me to read this book because it just makes you angry. I really liked the first half of the book. I thought the second half of the book got a little weird because it started getting into religion, and I just didn't like the direction it went in. But the first half of the book was so strong, and it's gonna make you like violently angry at Richard and just how fucked up it is. It's so and it's sad because this happens a lot, not just with gay people, but straight people, where people who come from, you know, either a poor background or parents kick them out the house, they're very susceptible to being, you know, manipulated and taken advantage of, and this does a good job of exploring that. But I definitely recommend reading this, but it will make you angry, I promise. Another gay thriller that I read recently is called Bathhouse by PJ Vernon. I did a reading blog on this one as well, but that did contain spoilers, but I'll put the link down below. It's about a guy named Oliver. I feel like half of these books, the main character's name is Oliver. Anyway, it's about a guy named Oliver, and he's pretty much married. They're not married, but they're like really serious dating with a guy named Nathan, who is a rich Upper East Side Manhattan doctor and has a shit ton of money, and Oliver does not come from money. And one day Oliver goes to a bathhouse. I'm so over explaining what a bathhouse is. I've had to do this in 4 vlogs now. But a bathhouse is kind of like a sauna, gym, atmosphere, and a lot of guys would go there and some walk around naked. Sometimes people would have sex, you know, very promiscuous activity. Like I always say, Google it yourself. That was probably a really bad explanation. I don't go to bathhouses, believe it or not. And anyway, so Oliver goes to the bathhouse and he meets a guy, and he is propositioned to come into the room with this guy to fool around. He's gonna cheat on Nathan. But when he gets in the room with the guy tries to kill him. And he escapes, and the rest of the book, he feels like that guy is haunting him and trying to chase him, trying to get him, you know, kill him again. And this book explores like abusive relationships, power dynamics. It's really, really good. I really enjoyed it. Probably one of my favorite gay thrillers, and probably one of my favorite books of all time. If you cannot tell, I'm exhausted. I've been talking for way too long, so my thoughts are not coherent right now. But definitely check out Bathhouse. I've talked about this in multiple vlogs, and I probably did a better explanation then. But yes, Bathhouse, one of my favorite gay thrillers. Another thriller I'm gonna recommend that's not really a gay thriller, but it has like kind of a gay side story, is called The One by John Mars. And this is about a book where you can take a DNA swab test, and you take the test and you get matched with your perfect match. And there's multiple perspectives throughout the book. But one of the perspectives is a guy who's like married to a woman decides to take the test, and his perfect match is a man. And both of these guys are straight, but their perfect matches are men. And this is just a side part of the whole book. This isn't really, this is not a gay book, but I found that part of the book so interesting, and I definitely think you should read The One because it's so fast paced. I've recommended it in other thriller vlogs, but it did have a little kind of a gay element to that book that I think people would like. The book Ace of Spades, the young adult book that just came out, does have bisexual and gay representation. I'm not gonna go into much more on that, but this book is about 2 black students at this school with all white privileged people. In their senior year, they start getting bullied by this anonymous person called Aces. And the book follows, you know, why are they being bullied? What's behind all of this? And this isn't a gay thriller in the sense where it's focusing on, you know, gay topics. That just there happens to be a decent amount of gay people in the book. But I definitely recommend Ace of Spades, one of the few young adult books that I actually finished. It's definitely gonna be one of the favorites of the year. But yes, Ace of Spades. Another gay thriller that I read a long time ago was called Boy Shattered, and it takes place in like a high school, and there's an active shooter in the cafeteria, and this gay guy like saves one of the football jocks from dying from the active shooter, and it's kind of their love story, but on top of it, trying to figure out like who the active shooter was, because you don't know the identity of the active shooter. I just remember really liking it. There's something about active shooter that just absolutely terrifies me. Like, I know everyone is scared of active shooters, but like I have like nightmares about it, and I like can't go to the movie theaters because I'm so anxious the whole time, and I have to still in the end. But I digress. This book was super good. It's cute, but at the same time, like really like terrifying, because you're trying to figure out like who this active shooter is, and it's very graphic on what was happening in the school when this active shooting was happening. But yeah, I definitely recommend that book. I think that concludes all of the horror thrillers. There's not that many. I wish I had more. So if you know of any thrillers or horror books with gay themes, any, you know, LGBTQ, whatever, please drop them down in the comments below, because I'm always looking for more. I'm sure I missed one. This was exhausting, talking this much. I don't think I've talked this much in a vlog. But before I end, I'm gonna go through my TBR, to be read, of a few other LGBTQ books that I have. I'm not gonna explain them because honestly I don't know, but these are some that you should be expecting coming from me reviews in the coming months. A female-female romance that I see is Tell Me How You Really Feel. When I requested female-female romances, everyone was telling me this book, so I picked this up, should be reading this soon. So in my next LGBTQ recommendation video, you should be seeing more female-female romance recommendations if I like it. A Little Life, I still haven't read it. I heard it's gonna like make me like super depressed, so I'm really scared to read it, but I'm going to. And when I do read this, it's gonna be a reading vlog, and you'll probably get to see me cry. Him by Sabrina Bowen and Elle Kennedy. Elle Kennedy is one of my new favorite authors, so I'm super excited to read this one. What else I got? Oh, I'm reading this right now. It's called Red X. I'm making a reading vlog for Red X and Razor Blade Tears, so be on the lookout for that. These are two gay books that I will be doing a reading vlog. I'm currently in the process of doing that. I have The Hearts of Invisible Furies, which I heard is amazing, beautiful. Another long one. I'll probably do a reading vlog on it, but it's just gonna take me a while to get to it. And then finally, I've been meaning to read, I was supposed to read this over the summer, but I didn't, but I'm going to soon. It's called A Beautiful Crime, a novel. But thank you guys so much. I hope you found this useful if you're looking for some LGBTQ themes. If you know any books that you think I would like or anything, please let me know. Also, I'm sure I messed up my explanation of the plots to some of these or used incorrect names. Please forgive me. Some of these books I haven't read in like over a year. Also, there's just a lot of books around me right now. So just please be nice to me. Don't bully me. But thank you guys so much, and I hope to see you again soon.